One of the most profound things I've learned in my life is that it's actually not about my hair at all. I've spent a lifetime trying to cover up who I am. And as much as I love a good external transformation, and I do, I much more love a heart transformation. Join me as I share how I work to heal my heart, find happiness, and embrace our hair. Okay, you guys, welcome back to It's Not About Your Hair, where we talk all things hair, heart, and happiness. Okay, let's freaking do it. Let's get wildly vulnerable today. As if I'm not always wildly vulnerable, but let's get, can I share with you guys what's going on in my personal life? As much as I can without betraying the trust of those around me. This weekend, I created a new daily rhythm for myself. If you're watching, a friend gave me 18 questions to ponder through this hard time I'm going in. And one of the questions was, what are some daily spiritual practices I have that remind me to be rooted in the truth? And so I created this morning and evening routine that's so simple because I'm getting stuck in the weeds of feeling exhausted and fatigued in emotion, and I'm losing myself. I'm going to share with you what I put on this list, and then I'm going to try to figure out how to share it with you in the show notes if I can. If not, you can message me. But I think I can put it in the show notes somehow. So what is going on? I'm trying to navigate how much or what to share. So right now, I would say that my children don't like me. I have hurt my kids. I don't want to say unknowingly, but because I don't want to seem as if I'm not taking responsibility. But I would say that we show up as we are and we do better as we know better. But sometimes we just repeat patterns. So my kids, and at different degrees, it's really interesting, have expressed that they didn't particularly enjoy my parenting. And I'm navigating through that. They have decided to take space from me. And if you are a parent that has experienced this, why aren't we talking about this more? I have scoured the internet, and I think it's because it's so heartbreaking and it's embarrassing maybe, or you feel like a failure, or you don't want to hurt your kids. I don't want to hurt my kids, so I'm going to shy away from what I say about them, and I'm going to focus on me in this. But we need to talk about these things because, there's a couple of things that can happen when your kids come to you and say, and maybe they don't say it like this because maybe they bring it up when they're first teenagers or something and they're rude. And I can say that I know that experience. So if my kids called me out in a fight, I'm 100% like, that was you. You're a brat. And so you're getting in trouble because you're a brat, right? And we justify that and we believe that. And parts of that are true. I can remember a therapy session with my therapist 10 years ago when my oldest was 15. And maybe I've shared this or maybe I haven't, but I'm going to assume you haven't listened to every episode. But we butted heads a lot when she was older. A lot. And one of the examples was I had said to her, hey, I need you to come downstairs because I need to talk to you. And she said, I'm in the middle of something, which just, irritated me. And I was upset. And I was like, I asked you to come downstairs. And she was not having it. And she was like, no, I'm doing something. And so I didn't even ask what she was doing. I didn't care. I just was like, she's being disobedient. I was in the she always does this mode. So if you do this to your kids, be careful, because our kids can change and there can be reasons. And sometimes as parents, we feel justified. I know I have in my behavior. And I went upstairs and we got into a huge fight about the fact that I didn't even get to talk to her about what I wanted to talk to her about because I got so fixated on the fact that she didn't listen to me. And I went to my therapy session and I started telling my therapist about it. And I was like, yeah. And she was so disrespectful. And can you believe it? And she didn't even come downstairs. And what should I do when she doesn't listen to me because she's never obedient and she never da 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 da. And he said, can I ask what she was doing? And I kind of snapped back and I was a little perturbed that he asked me that. And I was like, well, she wasn't listening to me. And he's like, but can I ask what she was doing? And it was like the first time I saw it, even though I walked into her room. When he asked me that, I was like, oh my God. Like when I went in her room, the kid was surrounded by homework. She was doing her homework. But I didn't see that. All I saw was that she didn't listen to me. And he said, and so when I slowed down enough to see it, and he said, and what were you doing? Nothing that was important because I don't remember. And he said, can I make a suggestion? I'm like, well, that's why I'm paying you, And he said, wouldn't it have saved a lot of energy for you to just go up to her room and talk to her? Would it have avoided the whole fight? But I couldn't get past the fact that she wouldn't listen to me when I told her to come. And I think sometimes in our parenting, I know in mine, I have been stuck in what I think is what they're supposed to do and justified that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. That was 10 years ago. And so I feel like I've worked really hard to change those patterns, but they still are there. I think in a lot of ways I'm slower to respond, but I still react. And my kids have challenged me in the last 10 weeks to look at myself. And I'm a quick solution person, you guys. If I think there's something the matter, I'm going to make a printout like I did here. I'm going to make a 1, 2, 3 step. I'm going to have a plan to get me out of that situation. And I'm going to read 3 books. I'm going to listen to 110 podcasts. I'm going to make a Post-it note and I'm going to move on. And we're 10 weeks into my kids putting me at arm's length. And I am emotionally exhausted, sad. And I went through every feeling, you guys. In the beginning, I was pissed. On a scale of 1 to 10, I was like a 13. Like, how dare they? I went through blame. I went through everything except for taking a look at myself. I went through, they've had it better than me. I've went through, why aren't they seeing all that I have done? And now I'm landing in still wanting to be recognized for the changes I've made. But again, my friend who gave me these questions, one of the questions that was on the list that she gave me, besides my own spiritual practice, was, what is the legacy that you want to leave in your family? I am telling you guys that 10 weeks feels like 10,000 years. 10 weeks separated. And I've seen them. There's been little bits of seeing, but a lot of not seeing. Totally different than the life I normally have with my kids. One of my kids is young. And I'm focused on a quick fix. I'm focused on what to do to make the pain stop. Like I'm looking for a tourniquet. But I feel like when we think about the word legacy, it's long. It's long. It's something that's going to last beyond us. It's a deep question. And for me, legacy is creating a family that hears each other, who loves each other enough to not take sides, who works always to support one another. For me specifically, it looks like not defending myself, which what I've learned in the last 10 weeks, you guys, about myself. Again, I shared on the last episode that it's easier to be vulnerable with perfect strangers than it is with people that you know. I have shared this with my kids, but they're not able to receive it yet. You know, it takes a lifetime. To break trust, and it takes a lifetime to build it again. I think because of my deep fear of being rejected that I thought was healed. My God, I started the podcast. Episode 1 was about why I started this podcast, because I've overcome. It was a freaking lie. I don't have great relationships with my parents. I don't have great relationships with my siblings. And I was trying so hard to create a different life for my family. And I thought I did. I think I have. But I've also failed because I haven't seen what I wasn't doing, because somehow I shielded myself from my own failures because I was so afraid of what's happening now. Does that make sense? Having been rejected by my own parents, I think my biggest fear was for my kids to reject me. And here's the truth. Teenagers are going to reject you. I didn't understand that. So when, especially my first daughter, started to reject me as a teenager, I fought back instead of understanding that it's a natural part of growing up. And I fought back hard, defending myself, blaming her, not understanding that she was wrestling with her own little mind and heart. I was emotionally immature and unable to meet her need. And then my second daughter came and it was better, but I think I still so desperately longed to be loved. I'm sharing this, you guys, because I think that moms need to talk about this stuff. And we need to recognize where we've made mistakes. And I did it again. I made them feel like the things that they were struggling with, they needed to 1, 2, 3 get better. They needed to take accountability. They needed to move on. And they needed to make me feel like they were okay and that I had done enough. Because somewhere along the way, I hadn't healed enough in myself that I was still looking for my kids to do that for me. I don't know how to handle when things are really stressful or if I don't know how to fix it. And so my default is to get mad because I didn't really know how to do sad. And I was afraid to ask for help because help meant that I hadn't done it good enough. Or that my family was broken. And I didn't think that was fair because I grew up in a broken family and I thought I had provided more for my kids than I had been given. And so somehow I couldn't justify that they were sad because somewhere inside I thought, well, they've been given 2 parents who love each other and 2 parents who love Jesus, and that creates a whole lot of stuff too. Oh, my landia, you guys. And I'm still struggling. I'm still struggling. With just accepting that my kids don't feel like I did a great job. Because if you're a parent who wants to do a great job, you just want to defend yourself. But if you could take one from me and you're listening, just say you're sorry. Say you're sorry soon and often. And say you love your kids. I did that, but I said lots of other things too, you know? And so in these last 10 weeks, I've lost myself because my biggest fear became reality. Not talking to my mother. I don't have probably had the best relationship with my dad I've ever had right now, but it's still, I don't know what normal is, but I've seen him once in 10 years, so I don't know if that's normal, but it's the best that I got, and I think he's good, and I'm thankful for his conversations. But I'm not talking to my mom. I don't have a relationship with my brother. And my kids, you know. The good news is that my husband and I are working on this together. I think some families might not be able to go through something so hard, or they're not willing to look at themselves. And I've gotten off the path. And I've gotten stuck in the weeds the last 10 weeks. And I felt hopeless and fearful. And what if my kids never talk to me again? And what if I've hurt my kids so bad? And what if... But today I woke up and I said, I just can't do that anymore. All I can do is everything they're asking of me. I can sit in what I have done and practice how to be better. I cannot change fundamentally who I am. And I can love my kids. And there will be nothing. So in my personal life, and I'm not saying this to blame my parents, I'm saying it to show. In my personal life, I've went long seasons without talking to both of my parents. And I can't imagine that. That's been the most painful thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And so I will always pursue my kids. With the understanding that it might not happen. I might not get what I want out of this, but I will not give up. And so if you're a mama at home and you're struggling with your kids, first of all, be rooted in who you are. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalms 139. He knew me before he formed me. I was knit together in my mother's womb, created on purpose for a purpose. That is what the Bible tells me. So therefore, I am wanted. The word tells us that we are called his beloved, which broken into two words means be loved. I am loved, even when I do not feel it. I can be forgiven. That's what the word tells me. But I have to ask for forgiveness, and I have. 2, I know without a shadow of a doubt that I was meant to be a mom. That those girls, we don't own our kids. They pass through us. They don't belong to us. But I believe without any reservation, even in the hardest of heart, that even if I were to become the most world famous curly girl in the whole world, I would want none of it if it meant I couldn't be their mom. I'd give it all up, any of it. But I believe that God has a plan. In James, it says, count it all joy, brothers, when trials come your way, because trials give us a chance to grow our character, our perseverance. I'm shortening this. Perseverance grows steadfastness, because every current situation is equipping us for the next. When I am anchored, when you are anchored to the fact that you are loved, even when all things around you say you are not, and I've lost sight of that over the last 10 weeks and really doubted whether or not I was good enough, worthy, and there was a lot of evidence around me, you guys, to show that no one could really love me. And I was sitting in that, and I was losing hope. But not anymore. I got some practices, and we're going to talk about that. And so here on the list, I'm going to have these next to my bed, okay? Morning, breathe, breath prayer. Just 3 times I'm going to breathe in. God, remind me that I am safe and in your love today. Inhale. I am held. Exhale. I am not alone. I'm going to say that 3 times. There is a scientific evidence that our breath is connected to regulating our emotional system. So starting my day, not on my phone, not in fear, none of that. God, remind me that I am safe and in your love today. I am held. I am not alone. Scripture of the week. So I have a few different ones. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything through thanksgiving and supplication, let your requests be known to the Lord, and then the peace of God that passes all understanding will guard your heart and mind. And then 3 things I'm grateful for. So every day I'm going to write 3 new things. Not generic, new. Smell of coffee, a phone call from a kid, a hug from my husband, a warm house, something new every day. Today, I choose to respond with blank instead of blank, hope instead of hopelessness, joy instead of whatever, And then my evening release, to be able to release what's not mine. Evening reflection. Where did I find God's presence today? What moments gave me peace? What do I want to release before I sleep? Letting go prayer. Breathe. God, I release what I cannot carry and rest it in your care. Affirmations. I can love others without losing myself. Peace begins with my surrender. I am becoming stronger through grace. I will forgive and love no matter what. I hope that this helps you today. I hope that you know that it's okay to make mistakes, that you're never too far gone, that it's important to take responsibility, especially with our kids, no matter how old they are. I'm 45, and I wish my mom would call. Try to be for the people in your life what you wish someone would be for you. And above all, thank you for being here for me. If this message helped you, share it with a friend. Leave me a comment. You're freaking awesome. I guess this is where I ask you to subscribe to my channel, to follow me on social, and to listen wherever podcasts can be found. And join me every Tuesday at 2 as we unpack how to heal your hair, your heart, and your happiness.